Hey, show me your papers. Are you even legal? Legal, I'm a U.S. citizen and I'm a police captain. And this car? Stolen, right? Stolen? Here's my badge. I'm Captain Williams. I don't care. Hands behind your back.
ICE Agent Marcus Chun, badge number IC 47621 with 11 years at Immigration and Customs Enforcement, saw a black man pumping gas into a Mercedes-Benz in North Scottsdale and decided he must be either undocumented or driving a stolen vehicle. Chun approached him, demanded papers, and when the man showed him a Phoenix Police Department captain's badge, Chun called it fake, handcuffed him in front of dozens of witnesses recording on their phones, and arrested him for suspected vehicle theft and immigration violations. What Chun didn't know was that the man he'd just arrested was Captain James Williams, a decorated Phoenix Police Department captain with 18 years of service, commander of the Northeast Precinct overseeing 47 officers, recipient of 3 Medal of Valor awards, and one of the highest-ranking black officers in the Phoenix Police Department. And what neither Chun nor his partner, Agent Sophia Martinez, who assisted in the arrest, knew was that their body cameras recorded every word, including Chun saying, "Black guy pumping gas. That's stolen." That their supervisor would watch the footage and immediately understand they'd just arrested a police captain from the same city, whose police chief had IC on speed dial, and that their decision to profile and arrest a man based purely on his race would cost Agent Chun his career, would cost Agent Martinez a 3-year suspension, would result in criminal charges against both of them, would produce a viral video with 37 million views, and would force the federal government to pay Captain Williams $13.6 million. Before we go further, what city or country are you watching from? Drop it in the comments. We love seeing where you're tuning in from. If you believe that being a decorated police captain shouldn't require proving you're not a criminal while pumping gas, then like this video and subscribe. Captain James Williams wasn't just any police officer. He was one of Phoenix Police Department's most decorated and respected commanders. Born August 17, 1978 at Good Samaritan Hospital in Phoenix, Arizona. His father, Robert Williams, was a firefighter with the Phoenix Fire Department for 32 years. His mother, Angela Williams, was a social worker for Maricopa County for 28 years. James grew up in South Phoenix in a working-class neighborhood where he saw both the best and worst of community policing. He attended South Mountain High School, honor roll every semester, captain of the football team his junior and senior years, member of the Law Enforcement Explorer program starting at age 14. He graduated in 1996 with a 3.7 GPA and immediate acceptance to Arizona State University. He attended ASU on a partial academic scholarship. He majored in criminal justice with a minor in psychology. He was a walk-on for the ASU football team his freshman year and played defensive back for 2 seasons before focusing on academics. He graduated in 2000 with his bachelor's degree and was immediately accepted into the Phoenix Police Academy. At age 22, Williams joined the Phoenix Police Department. He completed the academy ranked 3rd in his class. He was assigned to patrol in the Maryvale Precinct, one of the highest crime areas in Phoenix. He spent 5 years on patrol, earning commendations for de-escalation skills and community engagement. At age 27, he was promoted to detective. He worked robbery homicide for 6 years. During that time, he achieved an 83% clearance rate on assigned cases, one of the highest in the department. He received his first Medal of Valor in 2008 for disarming an armed suspect who'd taken hostages during a bank robbery. In 2011, at age 33, Williams was promoted to sergeant. He supervised a team of 9 patrol officers. Under his leadership, his team had the lowest use of force incidents in the entire department while maintaining high arrest and clearance rates. In 2014, Williams returned to school part-time. He completed his master's degree in public administration from Arizona State University while working full-time. He wrote his thesis on community policing models and racial bias reduction in law enforcement. In 2016, at age 38, Williams was promoted to lieutenant. He commanded the night shift in the Central City Precinct. He implemented a community liaison program that reduced complaints against officers by 42% in 2 years. He received his second Medal of Valor in 2017 for pulling an unconscious driver from a burning vehicle seconds before it exploded. In 2019, Williams was promoted to captain at age 41. He became commander of the Northeast Precinct, covering North Scottsdale, one of the wealthiest and predominantly white areas of Phoenix. He oversaw 47 sworn officers and 12 civilian staff. He managed a $12 million annual budget. His precinct had the highest community satisfaction ratings in the department. By October 2024, Captain Williams had logged 18 years with the Phoenix Police Department. He'd worked every division: patrol, detectives, special operations. He'd supervised hundreds of officers. He'd conducted thousands of arrests with zero civil rights violations. He'd received 3 Medals of Valor, the department's highest honor for bravery. He'd won the Chief's Award for Community Leadership in 2020 and 2023. He served on the Arizona Association of Chiefs of Police Board. He was a certified instructor for de-escalation and implicit bias training. He taught at the police academy. He mentored young officers, particularly officers of color navigating department politics. By October 2024, Captain Williams was earning $147,000 per year. He owned a home in North Scottsdale. He was married to Dr. Michelle Williams, a pediatric surgeon at Phoenix Children's Hospital. They had 2 children in high school. He drove a 2022 Mercedes-Benz E-Class that he'd purchased with his own salary after 18 years of steady promotions. He was living proof that black excellence existed in law enforcement. He'd worked his entire adult life to build credibility, to earn respect, to be beyond reproach. And on October 8, 2024, 2 ICE agents saw him pumping gas in his own car and decided he must be a criminal. ICE agent Marcus Chun had worked for Immigration and Customs Enforcement for 11 years. He joined ICE in 2013 as a deportation officer. By 2024, he'd been promoted to supervisory special agent overseeing field operations in North Phoenix and Scottsdale. And over those 11 years, he'd been named in 9 formal complaints. 8 of those complaints came from U.S. citizens, 7 black, 1 Hispanic, who alleged Chun had demanded papers or detained them despite presenting valid identification proving citizenship. All 9 complaints had been reviewed by ICE Internal Affairs. 8 were dismissed as insufficient evidence. 1 resulted in a written counseling that went into Chin's file but came with no disciplinary action. Internal ICE data obtained during later litigation revealed Chin's pattern clearly. From 2021 to 2024, Agent Chun conducted 412 citizenship verification checks in the Phoenix metropolitan area. ICE's own records and body camera footage analysis showed that 358 of those checks, 87%, targeted black or Hispanic individuals. In an area where black and Hispanic residents made up approximately 38% of the population. Of those 412 checks, 91 resulted in actual immigration violations, a 22% hit rate, which meant 78% of the people Chin stopped and demanded papers from were U.S. citizens or legal residents going about their daily lives. Chin had a specific profile he targeted: black or Hispanic men in affluent areas, people driving expensive cars, anyone who, in Chin's judgment, looked like they didn't belong in wealthy neighborhoods. 3 other ICE agents had reported concerns about Chun to supervisors. One wrote in an internal email in 2022, "Chun seems to assume any person of color in North Scottsdale is suspicious. I've watched him stop U.S. citizens multiple times based on nothing but their appearance in a nice car." Nothing was done. Chin's supervisors valued his high number of checks. It looked productive on paper. The fact that 78% of those checks harassed innocent citizens didn't matter. The fact that 8 citizens had complained about racial profiling didn't matter. Until October 8, 2024, when Chin stopped the wrong person, someone with the resources, the platform, and the credibility to destroy him. October 8, 2024, 3:27 in the afternoon. A Chevron gas station on North Scottsdale Road near East Doubletree Ranch Road. North Scottsdale, one of the wealthiest zip codes in Arizona. Captain James Williams had just finished his shift at the Northeast Precinct. He'd changed out of his uniform into civilian clothes, a gray Arizona State University polo shirt, jeans, and sneakers. He was off duty. He was driving his personal vehicle, his 2022 Mercedes-Benz E-Class. He pulled into the Chevron station. He swiped his credit card at pump number 7. He began filling his tank. Around him, the gas station was moderately busy with afternoon traffic. A woman filled her SUV at pump 5. A man cleaned his windshield at pump 9. Normal suburban Arizona afternoon. Williams stood by his car, watching the gas pump numbers climb. He was thinking about dinner plans. His wife Michelle was working a late shift at the hospital. He needed to pick up their kids from school activities. Completely ordinary moment in a completely ordinary day. At the same time, two unmarked ICE vehicles pulled into the gas station parking lot. Agents Marcus Chun and Sofia Martinez were conducting what ICE called targeted enforcement operations, which meant driving around looking for people who, in their judgment, might be undocumented. Chun saw Captain Williams, a black man, at a gas station in North Scottsdale, pumping gas into a Mercedes-Benz. Chin's racial profiling instincts activated immediately. 3 security cameras captured what happened next. The gas station's overhead security system had cameras covering all 12 pumps. Agent Chin's body camera was activated. Agent Martinez's body camera was activated. What those 3 cameras recorded would be viewed 37 million times, would end 2 ICE careers, would result in federal criminal charges, and would cost the United States government $13.6 million. At 3:29 p.m., Agent Chin approached Captain Williams at Pump 7. "Hey," Chin called out. I need to see some identification." Williams looked up, confused. He saw 2 people in plain clothes approaching. Both wore tactical vests with ICE patches. Both had badges hanging from chains around their necks. "Excuse me," Williams said. "Is something wrong?" Chin stepped closer, his hand resting on his belt near his handcuffs. "I asked for identification, and I need to see papers proving you're in this country legally." Williams' stomach tightened. He'd been a police officer for 18 years. He knew exactly what was happening. He was being racially profiled. "I'm a U.S. citizen," Williams said calmly. "I was born in Phoenix. I'm a police captain with the Phoenix Police Department." Chin looked him up and down. Gray polo shirt, jeans, sneakers, standing next to an expensive Mercedes. Chin's expression showed clear disbelief. "Show me your papers," Chin demanded. "Passport, birth certificate, naturalization documents." "Now, I don't carry those documents with me," Williams said, his voice remaining professional. "But I have my driver's license and my police credentials." He reached slowly for his wallet, making his movements obvious. He pulled out his Arizona driver's license. He also pulled out his Phoenix Police Department captain's badge and official ID card. He held them out for Chin to examine. Chin took the license. He looked at it for about 5 seconds. Then he took the police captain's badge. "Where'd you get this?" Chin asked, holding up the badge. "I'm a police captain," Williams repeated. "That's my official badge. Badge number 4721. I command the Northeast Precinct. That's about 4 miles from here." Chin turned the badge over in his hands. It was a genuine Phoenix Police Department captain's badge, gold medal, eagle on top, captain, engraved across the center, badge number clearly visible. "This is fake," Chin said flatly. Williams stared at him. "Fake? That's an official Phoenix PD badge. You can call my department. You can call my chief. I can give you my." "Anyone can buy these online," Chin interrupted. "You can get badges, ID cards, anything on eBay." By this point, other customers at the gas station were noticing the confrontation. A woman pumping gas at Pump 5 had her phone out and was recording. A man at Pump 9 had stopped cleaning his windshield and was watching. Agent Martinez, Chin's partner, stepped closer. "Sir, we're going to need you to provide proof of citizenship. Driver's license isn't sufficient." "I am providing proof," Williams said, frustration creeping into his voice. "I'm a sworn law enforcement officer. That's a captain's badge from the Phoenix Police Department. You can verify my identity in about 30 seconds with one phone call." Chin handed the badge and ID card back to Williams. "Step over to our vehicle. We're going to run your information." "Run my information?" Williams said. "I haven't committed any crime. I'm pumping gas. I'm a police captain. What probable cause do you have to detain me?" "Suspected stolen vehicle," Chin said. "Black guy pumping gas into a Mercedes in North Scottsdale? That's stolen." Williams felt anger rise, but forced it down. 18 years as a cop. He knew how to stay calm under pressure. But this was different. This was him being profiled while off-duty, in civilian clothes, doing something completely innocent. "This is my car," Williams said clearly. "I purchased it 2 years ago. I can show you the registration. It's in my glove box." "Don't move toward the vehicle," Martinez said sharply. Her hand moved to her gun. The woman at Pump 5, still recording, spoke up. "Officers, I think there's been a mistake. I've seen this gentleman around the neighborhood. He lives nearby." Chin turned to her. "Ma'am, step back. This doesn't concern you." "It concerns me when I watch you harass someone for no reason," she said. "Final warning," Chin said. "Step back, or you'll be detained too." The woman stayed where she was, but kept recording. Williams tried again. "Listen, I understand you're doing your job, but I can prove who I am. My captain's badge has a serial number. You can call Phoenix PD dispatch right now. They'll confirm my identity in 30 seconds. We'll verify it, Chen said. At our office. After we run you through the system. Turn around. Hands behind your back. You're arresting me? Williams said, disbelief clear in his voice. For what? Suspected stolen vehicle. Suspected false impersonation of a law enforcement officer. Failure to provide proof of legal status. I showed you my driver's license. Williams said. I showed you my badge. What more do you want? I want, Chen said, pulling out his handcuffs, you to turn around and put your hands behind your back. Now, Williams looked at the security cameras, looked at the woman recording, looked at two other people who now had phones out. He made a decision. He would comply. He would not resist. He would not give them any reason to escalate this into violence. But he would make absolutely certain that every moment was documented. I am Captain James Williams, badge number 4721, Phoenix Police Department Northeast Precinct, he said clearly, speaking to the cameras. I am not resisting. I am complying. But I am a U.S. citizen, I am a police captain, and this is racial profiling. He turned around and placed his hands behind his back. Chen handcuffed him. The metal clicked tight around Williams's wrists, the same handcuffs Williams had put on hundreds of suspects over 18 years. Now he was wearing them. A man approached from the convenience store. He was wearing a Chevron uniform. A store employee. Hey, what's going on? The employee asked. Is there a problem? Police business, Chen said. Move along. I know him. The employee said, pointing at Williams. He comes in here like 3 times a week. He's a cop. A captain or something. He showed me his badge once when I asked him about becoming a cop. Chen ignored him. He walked Lieutenant Chen immediately called her commander, Deputy Chief Robert Martinez. She explained what the Chevron employee had reported. Martinez's response was immediate. Get everyone you can to that gas station. Find out exactly what happened. Give me video. And find Captain Williams. Within 20 minutes, 3 Phoenix Police Department vehicles were at the Chevron station. Officers collected witness statements. The lawyer who'd recorded the arrest sent her video to the department. The gas station manager provided security footage. At 5:17 p.m., Deputy Chief Martinez called the ICE Phoenix Field Office Director. The conversation was short and heated. You have one of my captains in custody, Martinez said. Captain James Williams. Badge number 4721. And you need to release him immediately. The IC director, caught completely off guard, said he'd look into it. At 5:32 p.m., ICE Supervisory Agent Linda Torres reviewed Agent Chen's body camera footage. She watched the entire encounter. She saw Chen demand papers. Saw Williams show his badge. Heard Chen say black guy pumping gas. That's stolen. Heard Chen call a police captain's badge fake. Saw the arrest. Torres closed her eyes. This was a disaster. At 5:41 p.m., Captain Williams was released. He'd been detained for 94 minutes. No apology. No explanation. Just, you're free to go. Phoenix police officers were waiting outside the ICE facility. They drove Williams back to the Chevron station where his Mercedes was still sitting, untouched, at Pump 7. Michelle Williams met him there. She'd been frantically calling hospitals, police stations, anyone who might know where her husband was. When she saw him, she hugged him tight. What happened? She asked. I got profiled, Williams said quietly. By ICE. For pumping gas while black. He was shaking. Not from fear. From anger. From humiliation. From the realization that 18 years as a police captain, 3 medals of valor, a spotless record. None of it mattered when 2 federal agents looked at him and saw only a black man who couldn't possibly belong. That night, Williams called an attorney. Civil rights lawyer David Chun, no relation to the ICE agent, listened to Williams's account, watched the videos witnesses had sent him, and took the case immediately. We're not just suing the agents, Chin told Williams. We're suing ICE. We're suing the Department of Homeland Security, and we're going to make an example of them. Attorney David Chun and his legal team spent 3 weeks compiling evidence. They obtained all 3 security camera angles from the Chevron station. Crystal clear footage showing the entire encounter. Showing Williams presenting his badge. Showing Chun dismissing it. Showing the arrest. They obtained Agent Chin's body camera footage through a Freedom of Information Act request. The footage included audio, including Chun saying, black guy pumping gas. That's stolen. Including Chun calling Williams's official police badge fake. Including Williams clearly stating his identity and badge number while being handcuffed. They obtained Agent Martinez's body camera footage, showing her active participation, showing her threatening the lawyer who tried to intervene, showing her refusal to make a simple phone call that would have verified Williams's identity. They interviewed 8 witnesses who'd been at the gas station, the lawyer who'd recorded on her phone, the Chevron employee who'd recognized Williams, 6 customers who'd watched the arrest, all willing to testify. They obtained Williams's complete personnel file from Phoenix Police Department, 18 years of exemplary service, 3 medals of valor, 0 disciplinary actions, 0 complaints, a model officer. Then Attorney Chen made a discovery that transformed the case from one bad arrest into proof of systemic discrimination. Through a subpoena, they obtained Agent Marcus Chen's complete ICE personnel file, including his complaint history, 9 complaints over 11 years, 8 from U.S. citizens alleging racial profiling, all dismissed. Through another subpoena, they obtained Chen's complete enforcement records for 112 citizenship checks over 3 years, 87% targeting minorities, 22% success rate, meaning 78% innocent citizens harassed. They found 17 other victims, 17 other U.S. citizens, 16 black, 1 Hispanic, who'd been stopped and detained by Agent Chen over the past 3 years despite presenting valid identification. Most hadn't filed complaints. They'd been too afraid, too poor, or too worn down by the system to fight back. Attorney Chen contacted all 17. 12 agreed to provide statements. Their stories were nearly identical to Williams's: stopped for no reason, valid ID dismissed as fake, detained despite proof of citizenship, released after hours with no apology. The pattern was undeniable. This wasn't one bad arrest. This was systematic racial profiling enabled and ignored by ICE supervisors for years. The lawsuit was filed on November 4, 2024, 27 days after the arrest. Captain James Williams versus IC Agent Marcus Chen, IC Agent Sofia Martinez, Supervisory Agent Linda Torres, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, and the United States Department of Homeland Security. The complaint was 63 pages long. It detailed the October 8th arrest. It included transcripts of body camera footage. It cited all 9 previous complaints against Chen that IC had dismissed. It presented the statistical analysis showing Chen's targeting pattern. It included statements from 12 other victims. Charges: violation of the 4th Amendment, unlawful seizure and false arrest, violation of the 14th Amendment, denial of equal protection, violation of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, racial discrimination, violation of 42 U.S.C. Section 1983, deprivation of rights under color of federal authority, intentional infliction of emotional distress, false imprisonment, defamation, and violation of ICE's own policies and procedures. Damages sought: $13.6 million plus mandatory systemic reforms. The federal government's attorneys immediately moved to dismiss on qualified immunity grounds. They argued Agent Chen acted in good faith, that citizenship checks are standard ICE procedure, that Chen had reasonable suspicion. The motion was heard by U.S. District Judge Patricia Morrison. She watched the body camera footage in open court. She heard Chen say black guy pumping gas. That's stolen. She saw Williams clearly present his police badge. She watched Chen handcuff a police captain while calling his credentials fake. Judge Morrison denied the motion to dismiss. Her written opinion included this paragraph: no reasonable ICE agent could conclude that a person who presents a valid driver's license and an official police captain's badge lacks documentation of legal status. No reasonable agent could justify arresting a U.S. citizen based purely on the agent's belief that a black man driving an expensive car must be either undocumented or a thief. This is not good faith law enforcement. This is textbook racial profiling. The government's attorneys tried 3 different settlement offers. First offer, $200,000. Williams rejected it. Second offer, $1 million. Williams rejected it. Third offer, $4.2 million plus Agent Chen's termination. Williams rejected it. This isn't about money, Williams told his attorney. This is about accountability. This is about making sure no other citizen, black, Hispanic, anyone, gets treated like a criminal just for existing in a nice neighborhood. We go to trial, or we get real reforms. The government's attorneys looked at the evidence, looked at the body camera footage that would be played for a jury, looked at 17 other victims ready to testify, looked at statistics showing systematic racial profiling, looked at a federal judge who'd already called their defense textbook racial profiling. They capitulated completely. The final settlement was reached on February 17, 2025, for months and 9 days after the arrest. Settlement amount: $13.6 million paid to Captain James Williams by the United States Department of Homeland Security, plus mandatory reforms. Agent Marcus Chun terminated immediately, barred from federal law enforcement permanently. Agent Sophia Martinez suspended without pay for 3 years, required to complete 200 hours of civil rights training before reinstatement consideration. Supervisory Agent Linda Torres demoted, removed from supervisory position. Independent review of all 412 citizenship checks Chun conducted, with apology letters sent to all victims. Mandatory implicit bias training for all ICE agents in Arizona, with annual recertification required. New policy requiring agents to verify credentials through official channels before arrest when presented with law enforcement, military, or government identification. Installation of Civilian Oversight Board for ICE Arizona operations. Public quarterly reporting of all citizenship checks broken down by race, with investigation triggered if racial disparities exceed population demographics by more than 10%. Personal apology from ICE Arizona Director and DHS Secretary to Captain Williams. Agent Marcus Chun was 43 when he was fired. 11 years of federal service, pension contributions, career advancement, all gone. The video of him arresting Captain Williams was viewed 37 million times. His face became synonymous with racial profiling. He couldn't work in law enforcement again. Every federal and state agency ran background checks showing his termination for civil rights violations. He took a job as a warehouse supervisor making $52,000 per year, less than half his IC salary. 2 years later, in 2027, Chun was convicted of federal civil rights violations in criminal proceedings. He was sentenced to 18 months in federal prison followed by 2 years of supervised release. He served 14 months before being released to a halfway house. Chun is 45 now in 2027. He works at a warehouse making $19 an hour. He's divorced. His children, now teenagers, were harassed at school for being the racist IC agent's kids. The video still follows him. People recognize him. He'll always be known as the agent who arrested a police captain for being black. Agent Sophia Martinez was 37 when she was suspended without pay. She lost 3 years of salary, approximately $300,000. She completed the required training. She applied for reinstatement in 2028. Her application was denied. She resigned from IC and now works in private security. Supervisory Agent Linda Torres was 51 when she was demoted. She'd been 3 years from retirement with full benefits. The demotion cut her pension by 40%. She retired in 2026, bitter and angry, unable to accept that ignoring Chin's pattern of complaints had destroyed her career trajectory. The ICE Phoenix field office underwent complete reorganization. For other agents with patterns similar to Chin's were quietly forced to resign. New leadership was installed. The office became a case study in federal law enforcement training programs nationwide on implicit bias and accountability. Captain James Williams used $2 million of his settlement to establish the Williams Foundation for Civil Rights, providing legal assistance and representation for victims of racial profiling by law enforcement. The foundation helped 63 people in its first year, most of whom couldn't afford attorneys to fight back against discrimination. Williams continued serving as captain of Phoenix Police Department's Northeast Precinct. He was promoted to deputy chief in 2026 at age 48, making him one of the highest-ranking black officers in the department's history. He became a national voice on police community relations and implicit bias in law enforcement. He still drives his Mercedes-Benz. He still pumps his own gas. But now, when he pulls into that same Chevron station on Scottsdale Road, every ICE agent in Arizona knows exactly who he is. The video of Captain Williams's arrest has been viewed 37 million times. It became required viewing in federal law enforcement training programs. ICE agents nationwide watch it as an example of what not to do, how racial profiling destroys careers, costs taxpayers millions, and violates citizens' constitutional rights. Law schools use the case in civil rights courses. The body camera footage showing Chun say black guy pumping gas, that's stolen, is taught as a textbook example of explicit racial bias. The hashtag Captain Williams trended for 6 days after the settlement was announced. Thousands of people shared their own stories of being profiled, detained, or harassed despite presenting valid identification. ICE's reforms in Arizona became the model other federal agencies adopted. Customs and Border Protection, DEA, FBI field offices, all implemented similar oversight policies, implicit bias training, and racial disparity reporting. The Civilian Oversight Board established for ICE Arizona operations reviewed over 2,000 citizenship checks in its first year. It found 17 instances of potential racial profiling. 8 agents received additional training. 2 were terminated. Captain Williams's foundation helped 63 victims of racial profiling in year 1, 107 in year 2. Many were people who'd been stopped by Agent Chun or other ICE agents with similar patterns, but hadn't known they could fight back. 3 years later, Captain Williams was 49, serving as Deputy Chief of the Phoenix Police Department, earning $212,000 per year, and using his platform to advocate for civil rights nationwide. Agent Marcus Chun was 46, still working warehouse shifts for $19 an hour, still paying portions of his criminal fines, still recognized from the video, with 37 million views. The lesson was documented, permanent, and public. A police captain shouldn't need to prove he's not a criminal while pumping gas. A U.S. citizen shouldn't need to carry proof of citizenship to buy groceries or fill their tank. And when federal agents decide that skin color is reasonable suspicion, they lose their careers, their reputations, and millions of taxpayer dollars, while their victim becomes a nationally recognized advocate for the civil rights they violated. If this story showed you that professional credentials mean nothing when racial profiling decides who belongs where, share it with someone who needs to understand that assumption destroys careers. What reforms do you think federal law enforcement needs to prevent racial profiling? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you believe that being a decorated police captain with 3 medals of valor should be enough to pump gas without proving citizenship, subscribe, because we're bringing you more stories where racial profiling met a victim with power and lost everything.